Yo, what's up guys? I'm back with another X-Men related video. X-Men has become very relevant once again with the amazing X-Men 97. If you haven't watched it since the original animated series, or you haven't even seen anything X-Men related, I recommend watching X-Men 97 ASAP. Even without a lot of context, the series is phenomenal and made for audiences of all kinds to enjoy. Over the years, X-Men has had many classic video games, from the 92 arcade game based off the Pride of the X-Men pilot to the Genesis and SNES titles, and of course the fighting titles from Capcom in the 90s. More than most heroes, X-Men has plenty of video games spanning multiple generations. In the 2000s, they released the Mutant Academy games and Next Dimension. And I think they are good fighters, but graphically they can't compare to the Capcom titles that came before them. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the best fighting games of all time, and the large majority of its characters on the Marvel side of things come from X-Men. Characters like Onslaught, Spiral, Cable, Sentinel, and more that your average MCU fan might not be aware of. There are plenty of other games that are worth mentioning, like X2, Wolverine's Revenge, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and the game today's video is about, X-Men Legends. Admittedly, I have not beaten X-Men Legends 2, the sequel that allows you to play as Magneto, Scarlet Witch, and other Brotherhood members, but from what I played, I think I still like the original more, and I will get into that later. X-Men Legends is far from perfect, but I think without a doubt, in April of 2024, it is the best X-Men game out right now. I have 3 distinct reasons why I believe so. My first reason is the roster. The second reason is the gameplay. This game is unique in what it offers. It isn't a fighter or arcade style title. Instead, this game heads in a different direction. My third and final reason is its love to the source material. This game was made for X-Men fans of all degrees. Now unfortunately, X-Men Legends is not as easy to get your hands on nowadays, as it is not available on PC, but it is available on PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and N-Gage, so fortunately you can emulate it like I am today on PC SX2. X-Men Legends is an action RPG developed by Raven Software and published by Activision. Released on September 21st, 2004 in North America, this game is very important in the history of Marvel video games. On September 20th, 2005, another X-Men title was released. This time it will be a sequel to X-Men Legends. Once again developed by Raven Software, X-Men Legends 2 Rise of Apocalypse has the X-Men and Brotherhood team up to go against the legendary X-Men antagonist Apocalypse. This is another great game and another stepping stone to one of the best Marvel games of all time in my opinion. On October 24, 2006, Raven Software outdid themselves and dropped another classic, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is everything X-Men Legends 1 and 2 was for X-Men fans, but for the entire Marvel Universe. This game has introduced me to countless characters like Moon Knight, Black Panther, Mandarin, Fin Fang Foom, Namor, and many more. I played countless hours of this game on the PSP. If you have the original non-Steam version on PC, I recommend downloading the 50 character roster hack mod. I did a video on it on this channel. It adds characters from X-Men Legends 1 and 2 so you can have an X-Men only experience while going through this classic game. Without X-Men Legends, we would never have gotten this amazing title, and it just goes to show how popular the X-Men were back in the 2000s that they got a solo game before Marvel did one for their whole universe. Now onto why I think X-Men Legends is the best X-Men game of all time. So the first reason why I think X-Men Legends is the best X-Men video game of all time is the roster. This game without a doubt has the best roster of any game you can find for X-Men. 99% of your fan favorites will make an appearance on the roster. There's 15 playable characters throughout the game, but since Professor X is only available during the Astral Plane segments, it's more honestly 14. But from these 14 to play, you can play as Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, Rogue, Gambit, Colossus, Iceman, Psylocke, Emma Frost, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and Magma. Iceman is someone you will use many times throughout the game to solve puzzles, mainly building bridges and putting out fires, stuff of that nature, and Magma is the default main character of the story. Although she's not always available to play as, she is the default character we follow through a lot of the stories. The RPG style of gameplay lends very well to having 4 character parties that you can have balance each other out. Having a flight character like Storm, Jean, or Rogue with a physical attack character like Wolverine and a ranged energy attack character like Cyclops makes mixing and matching characters a fun experience and lends so much to replayability. I typically play with Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, and of course my favorite X-Men, Rogue. This game has puzzles and moments where you need certain characters' powers like Storm or Iceman to progress. I think this is a fun way of forcing the player to use other characters. Unfortunately, it can soft lock you if your character isn't upgraded properly or is unfortunately dead. Unlike Ultimate Alliance, you have to revive them with points instead of waiting for a timer to go down. My second reason for naming X-Men Legends the best X-Men game of all time is the gameplay. I love RPGs and the style of gameplay that they offer. Being able to make choices is one of my favorite parts of an RPG. Although you can't make game-changing choices, you can pick the roster you like, upgrade them as you see fit, and choose to train at the Danger Room. Every character has moves that are completely unique to them and makes playing every character at least once worth a try. Some enemies are immune to attacks from physical type characters or energy type characters. Stuff like this makes the combat more interesting and better than games that you would just button mash your way through. This game has combos and super moves you can pull off, and the creators poured a lot of love to this game and you can see it every time you play it. Characters like Rogue, Storm, and Jean Grey can all fly, but you have to upgrade the ability to unlock it. Same with Wolverine's healing factor and other abilities similar to that. I think they implemented the muted power system better than any other game. Unlike other games that make using power a chore or a last resort, if you do it right, the gameplay loop makes it so that you never have low energy or health and you can just keep flowing, keep spamming your moves. I think the cel-shaded graphics beautifully pair with the game and the colorful stuff you see throughout it. Although you have to play the story in your ultimate outfits at first, once you beat it, you can play the game through your classic costumes. But you can use cheat codes to bypass this if you don't feel like doing that. Unfortunately, not every character has alternate outfits, Rogue and Jubilee being an example of characters who don't have comic book outfits, but they do have some outfits, or at least one outfit by default to choose from. This game has some fun boss battles, and even some that I find pretty tough. Off the top of my head, the final boss battle against Master Mold is tough as fuck, and will have you reviving your favorites over and over, and probably save Scummy too. The Astral Plane Pyro boss fight was pretty tough in my opinion. No matter what I did, my party would get wiped out, and I died plenty of times trying to implement my strategy. This game has a danger room that lets you train and run different training missions. Throughout the game, you can talk to characters and learn their backstory, and even play important missions featuring them. Some of these include the Sentinel flashback given by Nightcrawler and the Weapon X flashback given by Wolverine. These ones allow you to play as different skins too that fit the time period. All these nice touches add up to my next reason for naming X-Men Legends the best X-Men game of all time. My third and final reason is the love that they have for the source material. They cram so many things for fans to enjoy in this game. You have the locations you visit throughout the game. Starting off in the streets of New York City, you quickly visit classic locations like the X Mansion, the Morlock's lair in the sewer, Muir Island, the Weapons X facility, the Sentinel factory, and finally Asteroid M. If that doesn't sound appealing, this game makes sure you got to fight at least a couple of your favorite baddies. Characters like Mystique, Blob, Toad, Pyro, Juggernaut, Marrow, Sabretooth, Avalanche, the Shadow King, Master Mold, and of course Magneto. Honestly, the Magneto boss battle at the end is kind of disappointing difficulty-wise, but I had fun nonetheless. This game features plenty of non-playable fan favorites like Moira, Ileana, Forge, Healer, Bishop, Multiple Man, and Gateway. They even have Patrick Stewart reprising his role as Professor X. The iconic Stephen Bloom comes in and does Wolverine's voice. This game is far from perfect, but there is so much history and love poured into this title, it's impossible not to notice it if you love X-Men. Now, as far as I know, this game is playable with 4 players, but there are segments where you can only play as one character, which is pretty annoying for a team-based game. If you couldn't tell, I really enjoyed my time with X-Men Legends. I actually beat it for the first time this year after owning it on the PS2 for at least over a decade. I never got much farther than the first couple levels. I'm not sure what I was cause I beat Ultimate Alliance plenty of times, but I will say X-Men Legends is definitely a harder game overall. You might be wondering if I enjoy this game so much, why don't I rate the sequel higher? Well, I do have a couple reasons why, and let me get into them right now. So first and foremost, the roster is better in X-Men Legends 1. You lose out on Psylocke and Emma Frost in the sequel, and getting Toad and Sunfire doesn't really make up for it in my opinion. I think it'd be more interesting if we got characters like Mystique and Sabretooth, but we don't. There are some exclusive characters you get depending on which version you played, so I mean, it might be worth it, but I feel like it's only worth it on PC if you mod in all the characters, you know? But another reason why X-Men Legends 1 is better in my opinion is the boss battles are better. So in X-Men Legend 1, you use the majority of fan favorite characters throughout your journey, but X-Men Legend 2 does have some really cool ones. You have Lady Deathstrike, Omega Red, Bastion, who is coming up in X-Men 97 right now, Strife, Deadpool, Archangel, and my favorite villain, Mr. Sinister. And of course Apocalypse at the end as well. I think these are good selections because you kind of ran through most of them in the first game, but I don't think it's really comparable. I mean, fighting the Brotherhood and Master Mold, it just comes off really cool to me. But if you had Mr. Sinister in the first game, then I would go super crazy. But Yeah, I mean, Mr. Sinister is probably the highlight for the second game, at least for me. But my third and final reason for picking X-Men Legends 1 over 2 is the locations featured throughout the game. The Dead Zone and Egypt were interesting additions, but the game's locations kind of blend in together for me, and they don't stand out too much. Not that the original X-Men Legends didn't have, locations that they repeated or some boring ones, but I think overall they made up for it. They had higher highs. So what do you guys think? Is your favorite X-Men game Children of the Atom? Maybe it's the Genesis titles or the Game Gear games. Maybe Mutant Apocalypse. You guys let me know in the comment section below. For me, it's X-Men Legends. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.